Welcome to the Football Pyramid Talk podcast. Available to listen to on YouTube and Spotify. George, Simon and Sterling as your hosts. 7 different leagues. Enjoy the episode.
Hello and welcome to episode 21 of the Football Pyramid Talk podcast. Very special one today, joined by George as always, and
Hello.
a special guest, Stef Hall. Thanks for
Hello,
joining us,
everyone.
mate.
All right, boys, how you going?
Not bad.
Well.
Excited.
Very well. Yeah, thanks for coming on. We're
worries.
happy to have you. So episode 21, bit of a different one as to what we usually do. Why don't you start by telling everybody listening and watching a bit about yourself, mate?
Hello, everyone. Hello, Sterling. Nice to see you, mate. Nice to meet you, George, as well.
Nice to meet you.
So my background is obviously coaching, which is how I met our lovely host, Sterling. Met him coaching at a tournament in Sweden. But apart from that, I've worked for a few different clubs. A club in Kent called Soccer Elite Football Academy as the head of women's football. Worked my last club, as George is so delightfully demonstrating with his Lewes shirt. I worked with Lewes for a little bit in the Eastern South, and then my first job was with West Ham. Very lucky to have worked there. But yeah, that's my background. For my sins, I'm unfortunately a Tottenham fan. I've got a bit of an affliction for Charlton and Worthing. But my mates will tell you I've got about 7-8 clubs, which is probably true. But yeah, that's a bit about me, to be honest.
We don't mind that, mate. I'm sure we'll get into a bit of gab about Tottenham and what's going on over there. But we'll happily have a ramble about Worthing. It seems to be every week, and can't really escape that, can we, George?
Too good to not talk about.
Yeah, they are flying, but we might as well, as you say, George is wearing the t-shirt. We might as well start off with talking about Lewes and your time at Lewes because we saw you firsthand in the dugout and that was really good. It was sick to see you in and amongst it, and but I mean, did you enjoy your time there?
I honestly, I loved it, and I was lucky enough to work with some great people. Obviously, you boys are local to the club. What a ground, by the way. I mean, people were telling me how nice it was. And then the assistant manager, obviously at the time, Nathan White, he'd been at the club previously, as had Brad as well as a player.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the first time we went down to the Pan, and he said, "You will never ever get bored of coming here." And I mean, we were there for 3 months, and every time we walked in, I would always say, "It never gets boring, does it?" Because obviously at the start of the season, when it's sunny and it's near the coast and great views, beautiful. But I had a great 3 months. I absolutely loved it. The environment we had as a staff and as a squad at the start of the year was something that really felt special to me. It was one of a few times in football as a coach that I'd actually felt almost like part of the family, and I wasn't even really like a full-time member of staff like Brad, Nath, Ben, and the other coaches. But they really welcomed me in. The club welcomed me in as well. It was great. It was an unbelievable time, to be fair.
Yeah, you could see that from afar, even just in the stands and social media. There seemed to be a real good cohesive unit, and you had some good results as well. That was Burgess Hill that we came to watch. 3-0. That was a really good result, and
really good game.
The team was playing really well. I mean, obviously we'll get on a little bit later about what kind of unfolded there. I know you went off to Australia and stuff, but I'm sure got a bit more insight into it than we do. But I mean, key moments from when you were there.
Key moments probably the Carl Shorten game. Carl Shorten away. I think we won 2-1, and Birch, the centre half, somehow got nosebleeds, found himself on the high press, broke through and netted the winner late on. That was special because I did the analysis report for that game.
Nice.
Put loads of time and effort into it, and sort of made sure it was good for the boys and that. So some stuff we highlighted in the report came true in the game, and we said about the press and certain other bits. And I remember at the end of the game, I was saying to Nathan, the assistant manager, just like, he was like, "That's your assist. That is." I can't remember what goal. It definitely wasn't Birch's goal. It must have been the first one. But he was like, "That's your assist. That is. That's your assist." So I was like, "I'll take it. I'll take it." But yeah, I think the Carl Shorten game. I think the Welling game as well, when we played them away.
Yeah.
Me and Nath had been to watch them on the week before. Did a report together, and then obviously that was the first week where I was sort of like in the dugout properly. I sat in the stands for a lot of the games before, just sort of watching over and doing the analysis parts of it, and would feed back to Brad. But Welling was the week where I sort of did the first half an hour in the stands, and then went down in the dugout. Plus, the back room already had an analyst as well, so I didn't want to get in his way. He was doing a terrific job, but he was on holiday for a while, so I stepped in. And then, I mean, like seeing you boys in the stands at Burgess Hill was class. Like, obviously, I know Sters, we've worked together before, and like we had a good relationship in Sweden. But definitely the Burgess Hill one, because I think you came down. Obviously, I saw you. I was buzzing to see you, but it was also the first or the second game my sister had come to. We obviously live in Bournemouth, so she did the drive down to. She came to the Welling game, and she came to the Burgess Hill game as well. And I'm mentioning his name a lot, Nath, but he said to me, I remember when we played in pre-season, I think, and he said there's no better feeling than winning a game of football that matters with your family in the stand. And I remember when we beat Burgess Hill, I think it was 3-0, wasn't it?
Yeah,
something mental like that. And we played really well. And my sister was at the top of the main stand behind the goal. And I remember just waving to her, being like, emotional but also buzzing, because we'd played really well and won. And I turned around to Nathan and said, it doesn't get any better than that when your family's like watch your mates have come down and seen you work and win a game. But they're the main ones really, those three I'd pick. Special time all round, to be honest, but they're the main three.
Proper surreal moment, I can imagine. Like,
you can't. I mean, no, I'm a firm believer that you never really crack it, right? You don't crack it, and you don't. Even if you make it to the big time, everyone dreams that. But I'm a big believer that you'll never be perfect and you'll never crack it. But it was one of those moments where you do feel like, I feel like I've taken a step. Like working with, they're a massive club, Lewes, in non-league. And when we had that lovely run and you win in front of your mates and everyone's buzzing and the environment's great, you can't help but feel like you're on the right path. So it was really, really good.
And as you said, like the stadium, like we say like there's not many, if any, like grounds that have that backdrop. In the South Downs, and it's just like forget the pitch, forget everything else. Like, that backdrop, it's just like so beautiful. And obviously, I know George, you've been to more Lewes games than me, and you know so much about the atmosphere and the fans with Lewes and in the league anyway. And you want to touch on like just the league in general, the fans, the atmosphere. And Lewes have got some cracking fans, haven't they?
Yeah, home and away. You see fans travel across the area, and especially that Burgess Hill game, you could see how much it meant to the fans, because that was the first, sort of Sussex derby, you can call it, for a long time, because Burgess Hill had been in leagues below. You could see how much it meant to the people around. I know I've got a mate at the running club that I do who was quite fuming when he heard that Lewes had absolutely pulled them apart. But I love going to Lewes. Whenever Brighton don't play or aren't on the TV, I always make sure to go out there. But I love the league in general. It's such a good league to, cover on the podcast. And some of the opposition, it's such a underrated league where you see such hidden quality. Like I watched Ollie Tanner score an outrageous free kick from near the halfway line before he got moved to Cardiff, and I was like, well, this just shows how interesting this league is. I just think what you and Pritchard did at Lewes, I think was actually something special. But I just think a spell of results, which I think at the time were I would say sort of undeserved. I think personally, your coaching staff deserved way more time.
Appreciate it.
But
I'm sure they'll love to hear that as well.
Because when we went to that Burgess Hill game, the football you were playing was outrageous. Generally, I think it was especially. Was it Devontae West's? Was it the third goal where Walter Figueira scored?
Yeah.
What a goal! It was like Devontae West put like two midfielders on their arses, and then Figueira
speaking to you at
scored
the
it.
end, Steph, on Instagram about that. It just like ball came into, can't remember who it was. It's just flicked round the corner, and then it might have been Devontae that just slotted it in. But it was a ridiculous goal.
Yeah, it just shows, doesn't it? It was a really exciting time, and I thought things would kick on from there. But that's football at the end of the day. Things can happen, and
that's football, and that's non-league. I think. I think
exactly.
From what I've seen around that league, especially, and then even the local leagues that I've looked around and stuff, like non-league's crazy. It is mental.
Yeah. Since we've been doing this, like a couple of questions off the back of that, we've seen like so many managerial departures in non-league in such a quick amount of time, and then things like it's like a merry-go-round of they're all swapping, either going back. Obviously, Craig Nelson's now back at Lewes. They'll either go back to their old clubs or they'll just switch clubs. Like I think Welling now have the Billy Ricky manager. Is that right, George?
Yeah, something like that.
Things like that. Like, what do you think the reason is for that? Do you know? Because we're trying to.
I think it would be hard for me to say, obviously, given my role at Lewes. But like, one, I really appreciate you saying that we should have had more time. I think, we all feel like that. I think it's difficult. I think clubs, when I never really played, right, but when I was around, like my best mate played Step 5 here and there, and where I worked in Kent was at a Step 5 football club with ground shed with a Step 5. Like the money that's in non-league now is mental, and I'm sure we'll probably touch on that in a minute. But I think the merry-go-round is probably based off the fact that people are so hungry for success, or they're hungry for success, but also I think sometimes it comes down to who you know. I think you've probably heard it before. It's not what you know; it's who you know. But like, look at is it Lee Martin that was at Welling and is now at Ramsgate? And
Ramsgate. Yeah.
When we played Welling when we beat them away, and it's fair to say that Welling they weren't great on the day, but then they had that really poor run of form as well. And I know they've won the last couple. I think obviously Lewes beat them the other day, didn't they? Because Khan scored, but I know they'd won the previous. I just think clubs are so hungry for success, and now they've got a bit of money, and there's money floating around on league. I think that they're happy to chop and change, and like even Craig, like we played Tunbridge in pre-season. I think after we played Worthing actually, which by the way, over 1,000 at the Pan for a pre-season game. That was wild. And I know his assistant manager through Nath as well, Vinesy, and I know their style of play and what they want to do. Like, I don't know in depth, but I know that they want to play good football. Like, we want us to at Lewes, but I just think clubs just too hungry for success now, and I think it's almost a precedent probably set by clubs higher up the pyramid, where it's like a win now business almost. Yeah. I mean, we'll touch on Spurs later, but look at the managers we've gone through in terms of we really wanted to win a trophy. Did we win one? Yeah. But then you sack the only guy that's done that, and it's a bit strange. But I just think it's non-league just being non-league. I think as well. Everyone's trying to find success. What works for one club won't work for another. Craig's doing well at Lewes now. Maybe he didn't have a great time at Tunbridge, or results might say that. But yeah, I don't know. That's football. I think at the end of the day.
Yeah. And it is one of those things. I always kind of thought in my head that, like, similar to what you're saying, like, because they need the success now, and the money side of it, like, if they were to go down the leagues, then that's so detrimental money wise. Like think of this, how much they put into that pitch. Obviously, we're going to use Lewes as an analogy for a lot of podcasts, not just because of what you were doing there, but because they're close to us. But like what Lewes put to the pitch, if they then start piling down the leagues, well, how's that going to affect them financially? So I kind of put it down to something like that. So I mean, makes sense what you're saying there. I mean, we'll go back to your time there. Obviously, you were in Australia, so you weren't actually there when the managerial change happened, were you? Or was it just get back?
I just got back. So when I went to Australia, it was, who did we beat the week before I went to Australia? I can't remember. It might have even been Burgess Hill. I'm not sure. But I think we went to Australia, and there was a bit of a running joke. Like, I'd been doing the warm up in like at the start of games and stuff, and the boys had come over and said, like, we're winning and you're doing a warm up, so it can't change. And then I was like, oh, I'm going to Australia. So I think the bad run of form come like just after I left to go.
God.
It's not like, it might have been to do with like a change of environment, but I'm not going to blow my own trumpet and say that the boys are more than capable of maintaining that, and I know how much they cared. So yeah, it was weird. Like you sort of watch them go through a bad run, like from 10,000 miles away, and you're like, lads, please come on, like we're playing such good football. And then I remember I'd been back from Australia probably like a week, and it was when we played Folkestone Invicta on a Tuesday night away. What a ground, by the way, and what an atmosphere! Like they're flying, and yeah, it was like so buzzing to be back. And I thought, like, okay, like I'm back. We're hopefully this might be a little change of fortune if I have any effect at all. And then obviously Folkestone beat us quite comfortably. And fair play to them, they're a monster side. Like, they've got some really good players.
Yeah.
Joe Pigott, for example, like he's playing EFL football, I think last year, wasn't he, or a couple of years ago? So
That's what I was saying to Sterling before we joined.
And then so we ended up losing that game quite handsomely. And then it was, from my knowledge, I think it was the day after or a couple of days after. I think we were due to have like an analysis meeting, and just ended up getting a message from the boys saying that we've been obviously, unfortunately, relieved of our positions, which was sad. I was pretty gutted when that happened, but I think that's football, obviously, as we know, or as I know. But so I was around for the end, probably not for as long as I would have liked, because I was in Australia. Well, I mean, I wouldn't trade Australia for anything, but I was around for the final game of the sort of environment, the coaching staff. But yeah, sad to go out the way we did, I think, actually.
Yeah, it was sad. I mean, few bad results, but I think it's been a bit of a theme for Lewes, because even in Craig Nelson's first stint, as soon as they had a few bad runs, they ripped that bandage off. So, just like you were saying before, non-league, bit cutthroat, isn't it? But I mean, thanks for sharing that with us, because obviously it's a tough situation. Obviously, being relieved of something that you love doing, but you're going to bounce back. There's no doubt about that. I mean, has there been any other?
There's been a couple, like in the emails and whatnot. I was in talks with a club around my area in Southampton, like back in women's football, in sort of step 5, step 6. I won't name them because obviously, like, there's still a little bit of potential. We're not sure whether that's going to happen or not, but they've been on the brink of step 5 for I think 3 or 4 years, and they just can't get over the line.
Right.
So yeah, I've had a brief chat with a few people around the club. No one really that's got any decision making, ability, but just to sort of sound out what might happen. Yeah, and I might play the old media train to, like, don't want to talk about someone else's job, but yeah, there's been a couple. It's difficult. Like, I know, what I would call silly season is coming up, where there's a bit more of a manager merry-go-round, but sort of, I would say, weighing up what I want to do, whether I want to, like, take a step into men's football again as maybe an assistant coach or like an analyst, I guess, like I was doing a bit for Lewes, but also in the dugout, or go and lead like a women's side, or like get into an academy or something. So I'm on a little break. Unfortunately, it's not of my doing. I'd love to be back in, and I'm getting the itch again. Like, you might have seen I did another pod actually recently talking about my journey and stuff. I'm desperate to get back in now. But it's got to be the right environment for me and the right time and place. So yeah. There's talks, but nothing concrete right now. Yeah,
That's it. Well, it's good that you've got some potential there, and so that itch, I don't think it'll ever go.
no.
Doing sales at the moment, I'm itching, so I completely get that. Completely get that. But yeah, just on obviously talking about the analysts and coaching. Do you have a preference? Because I'm interested in both of them, but I don't really have a preference now. I don't think.
Yeah, I think coaching is my preference. I love coaching and leading sessions and being part of sessions and teaching and trying to help players get better, like in front of me. But I think Lewes also really changed my view of like what I was actually good at. And I think what I thought was like, okay, there's going to be a level where maybe I can't help players develop because I'm not either played at that level or coached at this level before. So maybe I need to see what it takes. Or, for example, like looking at Brad, someone that's like won League One, played over 100 games for Charlton, like he's obviously going to have the knowledge and experience to be like, look, lads, you might do this or whatever, or however he coaches. But I really enjoyed the analysis, and I think I was always really scared to do analysis because one of my really good mates is like working for AFC Wimbledon Academy, and a lot of my analysis stuff at uni was all to do with Huddle and all the apps and stuff, and I could never really quite get my head around it. But if you ask me to go and watch a game and tell you who's good, who's maybe not performing well, where can we hurt them, where can they hurt us, I will do that all day. I love watching football, don't care what level it is. So yeah, it opened my eyes really. I'd be open to doing an analysis role like that again, 100%.
Yeah.
My only stipulation would probably be that I'd want to be in the dugout because that's where I feel most comfortable, and I think I love the passion of the game. Like if I'm not sitting in the stands, I want to be in the dugout, and if I'm not in the dugout, I want to be in the rowdiest part of the stadium. So yeah.
I was going to say it must have been unreal being in the dugout for Lewes games. Must have been so good.
Yeah, it's class, and obviously when you've got the rookery behind you that was full most weeks, and then you've got the main stand, and watching people go mental, and like it makes you feel great. And even at the my favourite bit was always at the end when you won, you lost or you drew, and you go over and clap the fans, and that was like, okay, this is proper football now. And this is like you live and die for 3 points, and that's what made it all worth it. Was at the end of the game when you go and clap the fans. You like at Carl Shortland, I think there was probably like 25 to maybe 40 Lewes fans, and like you end up getting almost like a bit of a relationship with these people. You don't know them, but you know that they come every week, and it's you do really appreciate it. It's great, but
proper diehard fans, mate. Going to watch them.
Well, sometimes you're at Brighton, aren't you? So
not us. I just mean the
guys. They're very well supported, and I mean non-league's very well supported. I mean, I went to a game the other night as well, and that was, I think, 850 at Slough. So it's great. Non-league's thriving, and long may it continue. I think people are realising that maybe that's where the real football is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my old man who does the podcast with us, he's out in Australia. He said, all this talk about Super League and stuff. He said he wouldn't bother, just go down and watch Lewes every week.
Yeah.
And he's big on that. I think a lot of people would go for that too. I mean, I wouldn't be going out to watch Brighton. Even though we wouldn't get invited along, but I could tell you that. But George, you got any more questions in regards to Lewes, mate, or should we move on to something a little bit different?
I was going to ask one more. I just wanted to ask like what it was like to work under Pritchard, because I watched him as a player and I rated him as a player, and then I saw him be the head coach of Lewes, and I was like, didn't really know how it would go, obviously, because he didn't have a lot of experience before that. So like, what was it like to be working under him as like part of his coaching staff?
at first very intimidating, like for myself, because
Yeah.
obviously I knew who he was, and like I knew that he had played pro, and I've got massive respect for anyone that's played at that level. It did kind of help, admittedly, that obviously one of my really good mates was obviously his assistant manager Nathan, who had obviously coached Brad when he was a player, and then obviously Ben as well, who was with Nathan and Brad. It was really, really insightful. Like, even just like I didn't lead anything at training or whatever. It was just a great chance to just watch and learn. And what I can tell you is Brad cares a lot about his squad, and he loves football. Like, and we all love football, but that guy, like, he was living and breathing Lewes, and you know that's probably how it should be. But yeah, super open, approachable, willing to give you everyone the time of day. Like, he's not going to shun anyone away. His idea of how he wants to play is superb. Like, obviously shaped by the people he had around him and to do with the squad as well. But the way he wants to play is, I believe, the right way to play. From the system, from the movements and the rotations, I loved how the boys and Brad wanted to play. But the main thing was really, like, he gave me a chance, like, in terms of he gave me a bit of responsibility to do the reports, and he was happy with me being down, and I'll never forget it. And it's probably easy to look back on and say, well, you know, I wouldn't have been there had Nathan not said, do you want to come down and help out? But you can only get your foot in the door so much until that runs out. Like, and I'll never forget, like, I'd been there maybe a couple of weeks, and I was just sort of, you know, getting some experience and learning and watching and leading little tiny bits here and there, like the warm-ups and stuff, the dynamics, etc. But I remember I kind of said to him, like, oh, like, I'd love to stay on, like, and just keep learning or whatever. He said something along the lines of, yeah, mate, we'd love to have you. We think you've made a real impact. And like, when you hear that from someone who is slightly intimidating in terms of, like, his stature, to me anyway, as someone that never played,
100%.
You really I really took something from that. And yeah, it was really, really, really good working with Brad. And, you know, luckily we're all still in contact as a group. And what I've said to Brad, to Nath, to Ben, and I'm sure they'll know this when this goes out, if they ever watch it. But I said, like, lads, if the stars align and you guys get a club and I'm available and you want me to come back, I would love to come back and work with those boys. And even, like, the way he, you know, the players he recruited, I didn't see too much the recruitment side, but, like, it's so obvious he listens, he does his homework, and, like, credit to the analyst. I know he's the analyst is I think a family member of his, but even Chris is really good at what he does. Like, I saw Chris, the club analyst, his, like, recruitment stuff before the end of the season, and it's like Brad had created this, like, lovely environment where everyone was valued, everyone was, you know, had responsibility, pulled in the same direction. And is a person that cares so deeply about the way he wants to play football and his club, especially Lewes as well. Like, the guy is a Lewes Hall of Famer, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, massive.
And that's pretty good for someone that only passed sideways during his whole career. He'll love that, by the way, because I always used to say that to him. But yeah, like, he cares so much about Lewes, and he was as disappointed. You know, the boys were disappointed, but I think he was really gutted that it didn't quite work out. But yeah, what a guy to work under. And, like, the people he brought with him, you know, yes, Nath was my good mate, and Ben I was lucky enough to meet, you know, there, and Steve, the goalkeeper coach, and even some of the players. Like, I'd been fortunate enough to work with Devonte for a year before he came to Lewes when he was at Holland and Blair. And it was clear to see he had talent, that kid. Like, I know he's doing really well at the moment. But like, he was, like, recommended to Pritch by Nath, and, you know, he gave him a chance. So it's obviously that he cares and he listens. But yeah, I know I've gone the long way around it, but definitely the best coaching environment I've been a part of, and I think that is down primarily to Brad, and the other boys obviously chipped in. but just to give someone who had no experience in men's football from a coaching standpoint a chance to be around, learn, take some responsibility.
Yeah.
I don't want to say I love him, but I'm really, really grateful to have been given the chance, because I think, I learned so much, and just to watch someone like that who dedicates himself to it is, really special.
Love that, mate. It says a lot about him as a person and his character.
Yeah.
The high praise you've got for him. I mean, moving on now from Lewes, during obviously touched on West Ham Foundation. Is that right?
Yeah, I always say West Ham, like, because it's the girls' academy pathway, so there's a route through to the WSL.
Cool.
But I think it is attached to the foundation.
Yeah.
Did some coaching down there for the girls under 16s, their second tier.
Nice.
That was a great time. I was there for 4 years, 3.5 years, 4 years. Unreal time. Learned so much, and that was the early days. I mean, I've only been coaching 5 years, but that feels like it could have been decades ago.
I mean, you've got some unreal experience under your belt, mate, for only 5 years worth of coaching.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just going off your LinkedIn where it said the foundation. I didn't really know the pathway, but what do you think the biggest challenge was going into? Well, no, obviously you started doing that before Lewes, like an elite football club environment. What's the biggest challenge there and difference really?
I think it's like, obviously on the previous podcast that I did, like, we spoke a lot about like girls football and stuff, and I think it's so madly different going into a girls environment than it was into a boys academy environment. Because obviously the girls game's still growing, but there are some unbelievable players at that level, and I think most of those girls that I had, we were in the second tier of the academy, but most of those girls will go on to play non-league. Most of them are playing non-league already. But I think the professionalism of an academy set up, I was lucky enough to do a bit of work with the academy 16, so the tier above us, and got to coach, like assistant coach with their manager in another setup. The professionalism is 100% the top one, like players that dedicate themselves. There's girls that are playing step 3 now that are only 16, 17, 18 that have been in that pathway. So the professionalism's there. The dedication of coaches, I think, to drive players to want to get better themselves, to understand where they coach, who they coach, and what badge they wear. And I think the biggest challenge, it was challenge you asked, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Biggest challenge. I think the biggest challenge is like understanding, and this might come across a little bit horrible, but understanding that not everyone's going to go pro.
Yeah.
Or not everyone's going to make it, or might not even play non-league. I think it's really difficult to let players down in terms of like when release, retain, whatever. But also the parent side of that as well. I think every parent obviously wants the best for their kid, and as a coach, you are often more than a coach. But I think the hardest challenge was having to deal with players that would end up leaving the club or maybe weren't quite at the level. But it's probably the biggest challenge actually.
Yeah, I mean, I actually did my dissertation thesis on the mental health effects of being released from academy. So I know all about that. Obviously, it's such a difficult thing. So I can imagine that's the biggest challenge is just as a human being, trying to deal with that, because some of them are there from 6, is it? Foundation phase. So
and like we even had girls that were there after I left, and then they get to 16, 17 years old where they should be looking at either under 21s deal or under 21s games, and end up getting released, and they get so close, and then they end up playing on league, or they take a break from the game, and it's really tough. And it's not just tough on them, it's tough on the parents as well, because the parents have only ever known their kid to play for maybe this one club or play at a good level across multiple clubs. But I mean, it sounds horrible, but that's football. We know what we sign up for. So
absolutely, that's what Per Mertesacker said, talking about having a plan B for players. 99% won't make it, 1% will become Bukayo Saka. That was the quote. So absolutely that. I mean, just in terms of like the coaching itself, what more did you learn being at an elite environment as a coach? Obviously, a bit of detail at a younger age, stuff like that.
Yes, session planning. Like obviously, when you coach at that level, you coach around people that have been at that level for a while, especially like elite coaches or senior coaches. The session planning and like how to work to like a club philosophy, and how to put that into practice. It's all well and good being able to draw it out on a bit of paper and envisage it working. But I think until you actually step out, and sounds shitty, but like when things go wrong, like how do you adapt? Like that's what I learned the most, and even into my full-time role, really. Like that's what I learned the most is, there's one thing drawing it out, but there's another thing putting it on the grass. And when it doesn't go right or doesn't go how you imagined it, is how you adapt from there. That's probably the biggest thing that I learned, like across my 4 years at the club. That's probably what I learned the most, is like how to adapt when things don't go quite well enough. So yeah,
nice, mate. Yes, adaptability. Everyone listening, be adaptable. Be a sponge. Be adaptable.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure I probably said that to you when we've been coaching at camps or something, like when I've watched you coach, or even like, I know obviously you're good mates with my mate Jack as well. I've said it to him 100 times about being adaptable in sessions and stuff. So,
that's it, mate. Yeah, you got to be. Right, we'll move on a little bit. We'll go on to talk about National League South. You mentioned there a little bit that you were at the Slough Dorking game. Is that right?
Yeah. I went to is it Arbour Park they play at?
I've no idea.
Yeah, great knowledge from me. I was only there 2 days ago with the boys, but went to. It was just off the cuff, really. Just went down. We were in the area, and we were like, oh, what's on? Slough Dorking's on.
Get a bit of non-league action.
Class. And I watched a fair bit of National League South last year at Maidstone as well. Like, obviously, I don't really know how they're getting on now, but it was really nice actually. Like, good weather. Obviously, Dorking's a bonus because they got the bunch of amateur stuff, and Mark White's always a laugh to look at and listen to, and that. But I think, do you know what? We really enjoyed it, and I think we're actually in the video of their winner. Me and the boys were behind the goal. Like, you can only see us briefly, but what a screamer, by the way. They scored 2 screamers, but
what was the score?
2-1.
They won 2-1. Denon Lewis, is it ex-Watford? Denon Lewis scored a screamer.
Charlie Carter.
Charlie Carter from the edge of the box rifled it in off the crossbar. 91st minute.
He's so good.
But that was a good game. It was a really good game. Enjoyed it. So I've got a couple of boys that I know as well from obviously Antsu that was at Lewes before we left, and then they've also got a kid that I went to uni with. Is it Peter Ojimen or something like that?
Oh yeah,
He was at he was at Dover a couple of years ago, last year, wasn't it?
He played for Lewes with Craig Nelson last season.
Yeah, and then so he was on the bench, he didn't get on, but then Antsu came on for a bit. But yeah, it was actually a really good watch. Really good watch. Arbour Park's a really nice little ground as well. It's got a great bar and does decent food, and serves the right beers, so we'll take it.
Mate. Can't
complain.
Yeah. The standard is unreal. I mean, we went to 2 at the back end of last season in that running. Both Worthing games. I've had some choice words about haven't I, George, about the ex-Worthing manager.
Oh, Chris Gutter.
Because they didn't play very good football when we went to watch them, but the standard is brilliant, really.
Yeah, the standard's a joke. I mean, it gets better every year, but like we obviously played Lewes in pre-season. I thought they were class then, and I'm glad they're flying now. To be honest, I thought when they obviously went from Hinch to that, they went through someone else, didn't they? They had another manager, and then they had Chris as well, with local legend to me, Dean Hammond, amongst my mates. Great guy, idol. He's obviously an idol to you as well, isn't he? Played for Brighton a long time.
Yeah, exactly.
But like the levels are unbelievable, and I think even step 3 levels are great. But when you watch National League, it's almost like you're watching, like a lower EFL game. And the game the other night was really good. Like Sal proper had a good go. Obviously went 1-0 up. I think Dorking's quality just shone through in the end. They had a game plan, stuck to it. They went down Denon's side quite a lot. Jimmy Muir had a pretty decent game. But as soon as that first one, and you could sort of feel it coming, Slough did have a bit of a go late on in the second half. But But yeah, I mean, Charlie Carter pops up and scores that goal. You're running off with 3 points and you're all the way back down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, buzzing with that. I mean, Slough haven't been doing very well, I don't think, have they, George? Correct me if
No,
I'm wrong.
they're near the bottom, but yeah, but it doesn't surprise me because they're usually a competitive team in this league. They've been in the league for ages, so it doesn't surprise me that they went toe to toe with a really good Dorking side.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, lads, the dog is fucking scratching the door, so I just need to let him in. Because he's been doing it for like 5 minutes.
Keep that in.
Yeah,
Keep it
I'll
in the
keep
edit.
it in it. Keep it in the
Come on.
So good.
Sorry about that little bit of technical issues. Technical being my dog's being very needy. But Steph, you touched on obviously when you're at Lewes, Worthing in pre-season and how good they've been doing now. I mean, up to second, 2 points off Hornchurch in first. Bit of insight from you about just how good they are. I mean, obviously different gaffer now, but
Yeah. It's lovely to see Hinch back. He did really well at York as well. Unreal.
Yeah.
And I was like, I followed Worthing a bit before, obviously, well, for a while before my ex-partner's from that area. So I was, I had a bit of an affiliation with the town. But like I remember when Hinch left and he took Ollie Pearce, and by the way, Ollie Pearce, what a player.
It's a joke.
Yeah, for Hinch to be back and for them to sort of be rolling, like even under Chris and the manager before that, they were pretty decent, and obviously they lost the playoff to Braintree, which was gutting. But yeah, their class, like Hinch will have his own ways of playing, which I'm not, I don't have information on. But even when we played them in pre-season, you can see they're just like, I mean, we drew 2. I think it was 2-2. We drew with them in front of a great crowd. But yeah, some of the players, mate. Like, is it Razak they have?
yeah,
he's a baller.
he's ridiculous.
Joke. And then obviously they had, was it Nicky Wheeler they had as
Nicky
well?
Wheeler.
Retired. Yeah, just retired. And I know Glenn Rayers obviously just left the club as well, but he was class in pre-season. Yeah, they're all round like they seem a real good club. Family club, great little ground, well run. Obviously got a bit of national recognition with the TV series and their owner. But yeah, I'm buzzing for him. Even when we played him in pre-season, I was like buzzing that we were playing a National League South side that had such a good reputation. And yeah, they're a good club, and I really hope that they go up this year. I really do, because they strike me as a team that would really do well in the National League as well. And obviously Hinch has been there with York and done it and taken from York from like second bottom when he walked in to almost get promoted. Yeah, I'm buzzing to see where they go in the next year and a bit. But yeah, a club that always seems to play football really nicely, regardless of who's in charge. And they got some ballers as well. Ballers.
Outrageous.
The squad just from last season to this season went up massively, didn't it, George? I mean, yeah, they've been in and amongst it for the last 3 seasons. I know I said there, and George, we've spoken about Chris Agutta. I just think when we watched, they were just boring games. I don't know whether it was because like the end of season running, like it was just so cagey, no one really wanted to lose.
Yeah.
But of course, he's obviously a great manager, 10 times better than me. That's for sure.
And the rest.
Yeah, so exactly. Yeah, so it's nothing really personal to him, but it's just when you're a fan, you're entitled to your opinion, and I think it was more just because they had Babaloa that's gone to Forest Green, and what was the fella that went to
Mo Fowl?
Yeah, they had 2 really big guys up front last season, so very direct, and then play off on second balls in transition with Danny Cashman. So it wasn't best to watch, in my opinion. But yeah, they have been in amongst it for a few seasons, and I mean Coleman DeGraff, former Lewes, scored again on the weekend. Jack Spong, former Albion, scored on the weekend.
Jack Spong, by the way, baller. Like, I remember, I think he scored the equaliser in the pre-season game.
Yeah, he did.
He dinked it over Louis Rogers, and I remember thinking that ball was coming at him about 100 miles an hour, and he's just like clipped it inside foot into
so
the top
good.
corner. Ridiculous. Yeah, but yeah, Jack Spong, unreal. Danny Cashman obviously got his move as well to Crawley last year. It was Crawley went to, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Buzzing for him as well because he was on flames for Worthing, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So yeah, buzzing he got a move, but yeah, they're going in the right direction, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Danny Cashman, unfortunately, has got injured and he's not really had much of a sniff at Crawley, has he, George?
No, it's not been near the squad at all, which is a real shame because we watched him in the Dorking Worthing game and he looked so good, and then he got injured. And speaking about like non-league like atmosphere, you remember that game, Sterling? That may as well have been like a League Two, League One game.
Yeah.
Because I remember on the day that was such a big game because it was basically if you won that game, you were going up. And
Yeah, I think.
and then it was a draw, which was literally the worst possible. There was the worst possible result for both teams.
Yeah.
But Worthing, absolutely outrageous squad. I've watched Raz Coleman de Graaf since he was at Lewes when we watched him against Bognor Sterling on that Sussex derby. We were like, he's an absolute joke, and he's just absolutely thriving at Worthing this season. And they've got so many other good players. And Hinshelwood's just been ridiculous. I put one of the stats on the documents that they've taken 30 out of 33 league points since he's been back in charge. 34-8 on aggregate if you put all the scores together. So it's just absolutely incredible. So yeah, and like you said, Steph, with Worthing in the National League, I think it will be the matter of time that they make it there because I watched them with my uncle Si that's on the podcast. We watched them 3 years ago. Was it in the Isthmian Prem when they came to the Dripping Pan? Record attendance at the Dripping Pan for a men's game, absolutely packed. And yeah, they won the game in the end, and the Worthing fans went nuts. It was may as well, like I said, had been an EFL game at that time because it was absolute carnage for the Worthing fans at the time, and obviously got promotion in the end. But yeah, I'd love to see Worthing in the National League because there's no teams around me and Sterling that are really in the National League. You'd really have to go to like Eastleigh, is probably the closest. So we want to see more teams, more local to us in that division, so we can go and watch some games because haven't been able to watch one in that division yet. So hoping on Worthing to keep the momentum going with Hinshelwood, which has been incredible so far.
Also, new ground, isn't it? They got they've redeveloped
the new stand, massive stand.
Bit more money through the door for him as well to put to good use. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It is really good, and actually the funny thing about that Dorking Worthing game at Worthing's ground was there were so many Dorking fans, and they all came with like black bin bags for some reason.
Oh,
We're thinking, what have they got all these black bin bags and they're waving them around before kickoff? And as they come out, they just open it, they're full of balloons. So it was really good, and they made such a good noise.
They did travel well, Dorking, didn't they?
Yeah, really well.
I thought they had a few at Slough the other night.
You see it on Bunch of Amateurs. They bring a lot of fans, to be fair. Really good support.
I think I went to the Maidstone Dorking game last year as well, and I think they had like the whole stand behind the goal opposite the big one.
Really? Yeah.
Opposite the G-Tech at Maidstone. And they make a racket as well.
Yeah.
They set off a flare at the Worthing game, didn't they, Sterling? And they got a big telling off for that, didn't they?
Yeah, I think people got banned from that.
When Rutherford scored, they went absolutely mental.
Yeah. I mean, we'll move on now to Premier League. I know we had a few more things. Here we go, bit of Spurs game. We could talk all day about National League South, I'm sure, but we'll be conscious of time. And should we get our little ramble about Brighton out of the way and get Steph's opinion about Brighton? Because I think it's been a bit of a weird one. Obviously, Brighton over the last few seasons. I mean, we're quite special in the fact of all the transfers and one of these giant killers, if you want to call it that. But seems we've been kind of forgotten about a little bit in the media, and people kind of say we've not been doing very well. But we're only, I think it was George, didn't we, like 5 points off fifth and only a couple points off a few of the teams above us, sitting in 9th. But frustrating. We went out there the other day and it was just pony, wasn't it, George?
Yeah, it was. I can't remember the last time Brighton drew 0-0. It was quite a sort of weird occasion to see, because Brighton are always scoring goals for fun or either conceding them. And I thought that would happen because, Dunk and JP were out, Van Heck. So I was like, Capola, Boscagli only played with each other against Oxford and Barnsley. So, up against Premier League opposition now, I can handle that. They got a clean sheet and I thought they did really well. But you say about the transfers and stuff, I was saying to you before, Sterling Capola's come out and said he's admitted that he's worried about being called up to the Italian national team now because he's just not been getting enough game time. And I think it's just because of how good Van Heck and Dunk have been this season. Everyone thought, because of Dunk's age and had a very underwhelming season last year, that he'd get dropped. But I think it's been one of his best seasons for a long time. And it really didn't look like we missed him in that Sunderland game. I thought we were quite defensively resolute, a lot more in the second half than the first. But one thing I picked out, I don't know about you, but I thought Weaver looked dreadful against Adingra. I was saying before, I didn't rate Adingra near the back end of last season because I thought he just looked a bit lazy. And I thought, Weaver would be all right against him, but he was getting absolutely skinned, wasn't he, Sterling? Put it through his legs a few times and got past him down the byline. And then when Veltman came on, that just completely changed. So I don't know about you, maybe, with a lot more tactical analysis both of you have than me, only being a player. I don't know about you thinking Weaver playing as a fullback and the difference that made for Brighton in the game from, a natural right back playing there compared to a CDM playing at right back. I think it changed the game personally.
Yeah, Steph, I don't know if how much you've watched of Brighton this season, but we've got this thing of we're playing this centre mid. It's really good centre mid, but he's playing right back. It's really tall, quite strong. He does a job, but it's just, as a Brighton fan, it's just infuriating because
does our heads in.
Yeah, it's just a clear gap in the team, if you know what I mean. But I mean, to answer George's question, I just don't think it works. I think he does a job there, but it seems to be 1-on-1 every time. But I suppose you might say that it's probably dependent on the player, right?
Yeah, I mean, I remember looking at a stat the other week, and he's the most dribble pass defender in the whole league, and I'm just like, well, if you're seeing these sorts of stats about your fullback, you've got to be changing it. And it didn't surprise me that he got hooked at half time because that probably added another 5 to the list that Dingra got past him a fair few times. So, yeah, I mean, I just don't think he's a fullback. I mean, he was in the Netherlands squad for being a midfielder at Feyenoord, and he's been put sort of in the deep end at right back. He's had a few good games there, but he's good going forward. I do think that. I think he's really good going forward, but defensively, one-on-one situations like Rodgers had him on his arse in that Villa game when they cut it across to Watkins, and it's just like Veltman would never let that happen. And I just think it's probably time to get Mr. Reliable back in at fullback because he always is Veltman. He always does a job.
I do like Veltman as well. I really do like Veltman. Like you say, he's dependable. Like I know he's obviously getting on a bit now, but like it's just steady Eddie, right? Like as a team that is going to be like you want to push on, and fair enough, you're going to finish hopefully top half of the table and be a decent side in the Prem and not just be there to make up numbers like Spurs are at the moment. But like what's wrong with Joel? Do you know what I mean? Like consistency is key, they say.
That's it, and to be fair, he's had an injury, and that's kept him out of the side.
Yeah.
But it's just frustrating because obviously everyone's bigs up Brighton's recruitment, but then we've
Yeah,
got right back playing.
yeah,
We've got centre mid playing right back.
yeah,
The other week we had against Liverpool, we had a centre mid playing up front.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was after half time, but before, like even from the off, we had a 10, Brian Gruder playing up
Mm.
front. So it's just frustrating. But I mean, from an outside perspective, what if you have watched much of Brighton or watching
Yeah.
match of the day? What are your thoughts really?
Do you know what? Brighton are one of them teams that I've like. I don't follow them. I won't sit here and say that I know loads about them because I don't. But I think whenever you catch a Brighton game or like you do, you see what's happening around the club. Like Fabian Hertzler is an unbelievable coach, evidently, and he's so young. Like how old is he? 32, 33,
Yeah,
something like
Yeah,
that.
about that.
He's
Yeah.
like 4 years older than I am. Like the guy's a joke, and he's so well spoken. I like that he's got a bit of grit. Do you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
he's had a few interviews in the past, and where he's sort of not taking any shit, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
he's got a clear way of playing. So
Mhm.
clear that I've seen coaches try and like imitate how they build and stuff. So he's obviously, he's
Nice.
obviously a great coach. But yeah, like Brighton are one of them teams in the Prem that are just really fun to watch, and they're entertaining. That there's always goals, whether they concede or score.
Yeah.
Which for the neutral like me is great. Is great, and I really like Van Hacker.
Yeah.
I think I really like him. Do I think he's on the verge of or deserving of a massive move? No. And I also like Dunk as well, but Dunk's in that weird position where he's like 34 now, and he's 33.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like he's had a few caps for England, but is he going to play? Is he going to make it to the World Cup? Obviously, is he out injured at the moment? I think, but he's probably not going to go to the World Cup. And
No.
you
No,
kind of
definitely
like
not.
he reminds me a little bit of, and this is going to sound really bad on Lewes Dunk, but like I mean, we all know how good Mark Noble was as a player, but do you know what I mean? Like a
Yeah.
nearly player.
Yeah.
He's like a
Mhm.
nearly player for England, and I know Mark
Yeah.
never got
Yeah, I
he
get
never
that.
got a cap, but Lewis gives me that vibe where it's like you're right on the cusp of being a solid centre half for England, but you just never quite get over the line.
Yeah.
Obviously, this whole Belabor saga to United is going to rumble on. They mention it every time Brighton play on TV, don't they? Like every time he touches the
literally.
ball,
Every
literally,
single time.
Infuriating.
yeah. Here's the future Man United holding midfielder, Carlos
Yeah.
Belabor. But
Yeah.
yeah, they're a fun side to watch. Like I put them up there with some of the funner sides to watch in the Prem.
Yeah.
So
We
yeah,
probably lose that thought because it's just so
yeah,
frustrating watching us
Mm.
play. And
yeah,
obviously, when you're in it as a supporter, you miss that, don't you? But
yeah, 100%.
I can see that because I mean, there's this running joke as Brian fans like we never do anything the easy way. Probably
Yeah.
same as Spurs actually.
Exactly. Yeah, it's
Never-
exactly that. Yeah,
Never do things the easy way, and we say like probably go beat Liverpool, but then lose to West Ham type thing.
yeah.
It is what it is. We'll speak about Spurs. You might not
Oh, do
even
we have
want
to?
to. I knew it was coming. You might not want to, but
Yeah,
we're gonna poke and prod. Obviously, against Liverpool, not good, and just at home in general at the moment. It's not been great away, has it? But especially at home.
It's
Yeah.
tough. Like I think before this little run of games where everything seems to be doom and gloom again, we were like the best away side in the Prem, per points. And then obviously you go to Arsenal and we're like the best away side in the Prem, and then you're playing the best team in England. I think City are the best team in England, but one of the best teams in England, unfortunately. And then we get manhandled at the Emirates, and then it's all like doom and gloom again. And yeah, the home form has been like, just call it what it is. It's shit.
Yeah.
Awful home form. I don't know why. Can't possibly put my finger on it. It might be the defensive, boring football that we play. But yeah, it's tough being a Spurs fan at the moment. To be honest, I miss living in London where I could just escape to Charlton on a Tuesday night.
Fair enough. Charlton are doing all right as well.
Yeah, they're all right. Yeah, had a good start to the season, but I think they've fallen off a little bit now.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can
So
stay on
do
Spurs
you-
if you want.
Yeah, do you not like Thomas Frank then? Because I like him as a bloke and as a manager, but he does seem struggling a bit.
It's not that I don't like him. I think if you spoke to most Spurs fans who have a relative idea of, obviously football's a game of opinions, right? Everyone's got one.
Mm-hmm.
But I think for people that actually understand the scenario around the club, like Daniel Levy, although he stabilised the club and took us to new heights in terms of financials and the stadium and, et cetera, et cetera, one thing he's never done is stuck with a manager, really. Apart from, Poch is probably the only one that he's given any reasonable amount of time to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
But the situation that Frank walked into was possibly the most toxic situation I've seen as a Spurs fan. Because when Ange walks in and he says, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it my way and we're going to win. We'll win something. I didn't know it was going to be Europa League at the time, but we'll win something. For then that to happen, and everyone knows that finishing 17th is not where a club of that size should be. Do we want Spurs to finish that low down? No. But it's like the age-old question of like, well, you'll have it as Brighton fans. Like, would you rather, I don't know, like win the league or watch your closest rivals go down or whoever? Like, some people say some people say the other. If you had asked me last year, will you take Spurs finishing 17th? Arsenal don't win the league, but you win the European trophy. I'd have bit your hand off.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm sure you saw it, Sterling. Like when me and Jack went out to London, me and Jack have always said that's like one of the best nights of our life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, horrific game, but the situation he's walked into is so toxic. It's a lose-lose. Like if he doesn't win a trophy, then surely that's his job because you sacked someone that did win a trophy.
Yeah, that's true.
Also, the squad not fantastic. Obviously, no frontline striker.
Yeah,
this Dom Solanke injury saga continues to rumble on.
Yeah.
Does he have an ankle problem? Is there something deeper than that going on? Obviously, Kulusevski being out, posting his operated knee on Instagram a while ago to everyone's disgust. And then Madders as well. Like, we miss James Maddison so much. And, it's just not ideal. And I'm not saying I don't like Frank, but something's got to change. And I think if you look at the Liverpool game, we lose 3-1 and we're playing with 10 men for 60 minutes. I think, like, Spurs are so much better in the chaos.
Yeah.
We're a bit like Coventry in a way. Like when we play against teams who set up against us and they play a certain way and we're relied on to be defensively sound for 90 minutes, we're usually pretty poor. But I think when you give Spurs a little bit of room to breathe and chaos and a game that's a bit messy, a bit feisty, I think that's where we really come out.
Yeah.
And like the Liverpool game was prime example. Like, obviously, I know we ended up with 2 red cards and stuff, but even I think we was at 2-1 down after Richarlison scored, or even 3-1 down. We was having a right go and we had 9 men.
Yeah.
That's where we looked the most dangerous, I think. And I just would love to see Frank be a bit more like the style he had at Brentford, where it was so like front to back, really quick transitional game.
Yeah.
I would love to see more of that because it would remind everyone probably a bit more of the Ange year or 2 years where it was just chaos all the time, but you had something to get behind because you were trying to win games. Or you didn't care about conceding because it was like a mentality of like, it's like City. Like, City might concede 3, but they'll just turn around and say, well, we'll score 4. We'll score 5. What does it matter? And I think that's when Spurs are at their best. But unfortunately for now, I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah. So do you think he's changed his philosophy then, Frank? Because he was, as you say, really expansive at Brentford.
Yeah.
I think so, but I think he's gone with the players that he's got in the squad. I think it's the classic, like, you can only play a certain way if you've got them players.
Yeah.
And it's disappointing because I think Spurs do have the players to play front to back really quickly. Like, historically, Spurs have always been a counter-attacking side. We look so much better on the break.
Yeah.
Even with, like, when we had Eriksen, Dele Alli, Kane, like, these aren't players that run particularly fast, but we were so, like, Poch's Spurs, so good on the counter. And we've always been that squad. But, I think his philosophy has changed. And I think that's because he's won at no disrespect to Brentford, but a bigger club.
Yeah.
I think he's at a bigger club. I think he knows the stakes are high with Ange winning a trophy. I think he knows that he's got to stabilise this situation, but also do his best to try and win something, which is definitely not going to happen. But yeah, I think is if he moved back to a bit more direct in terms of on the floor, front to back, nice and quick, then yeah. But I think also he's missing loads of key players. So
Yeah.
can
It's a
we
good point.
can we really judge what is going to happen? Like you can, I think you can judge probably 80%, 90% of it, but can we really judge what's going to happen until we see Madison, Kulusevski, Solanke, those players back in the fold and firing, and that might not be till next season or whatever. But yeah, there's a lot of problems going on at the moment. I think his philosophy might be one of them.
Yeah, it's a good point because I forgot about those injuries. I mean, those are the three of your best players, so obviously it doesn't help, does it? But we'll move on just to finish up. We've got a little quiz, couple weeks running. We've had a little quiz going on, so just based on Prem only and what's been going on the last few weeks.
I'm going to fail miserably.
You might surprise yourself, mate.
Go on.
Sorry, just what's been going on the weekend. So just kind of off the back of that.
Go on.
5 questions. Question 1. How many Premier League players have been picked for their respective nations in AFCON?
Oh my lordy. What is it, closest?
Give the answer to closest person. Closest answer gets a point.
Okay.
Is there like a limit of how many in between the number you can be? Can I have 5 off, 10 off?
I'll just give it literally to the closest.
All right, fair.
So whoever's closest.
George, go on, lead us off, mate.
You're going one lower than me.
You know what I'm doing.
Oh God. Right. Okay. I'm just trying to think big teams. I'd have quite a few.
I plucked these questions out my arse, by the way. I just thought of anything, so it's a bit of a nasty one to start off with.
I'll go. Oh, it's so tough. I'll go 35.
Oh, good number. I'm going to go. Trying to think. Because I know Sunderland have lost like nearly 11 players now, 8 players.
Yeah, they've lost so many. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to go 43.
Close. George was closer.
Oh.
It's actually 33, so you went 43. George went 35. Not bad guesses.
Fair play, 1-0.
Not bad guesses, yeah. George just won the
Rooks, 1-0.
1-0. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, we're speaking off air about it. Off air. Well, it's the first time I said that.
What is it, a radio show?
Yeah, honestly. Scored twice against Palace for Leeds and their 4-1 win. But how many goals does he have in his Premier League career?
Ooh.
Got a little hint.
Go on.
He's played 254 Premier League games.
Okay, that is a good end. Because, yeah.
All right, let me ask a question. You can leave this in or leave this out. Is he in the 100 Club?
No.
Okay, right.
You can leave it in, George.
I'll leave it in first because you're 1-0 up. He's got to be close, isn't he? I reckon he's going to have in Premier League career 83.
Okay.
I was going to go a little lower. I'm not going to do the one lower thing. I'm actually going to go with what I was thinking. I was thinking 68.
It's another good guess from George. 64 goals.
Oh, mate.
254.
I'm picking him up. I know he scored in 5 consecutive games or something. I'm thinking he's way better than he is.
I'm
miles off it. 2-0. I need the next 3 to get a winner.
You do. Armando Broja scored big equaliser for Burnley away at Bournemouth very late on. But when was his last Prem goal before that one?
Oh God!
Oh my Lord!
He's been on 5. He's been on 5 different loan moves since then.
I'll give it to the closest person again.
Who was he at before? Would it be at Southampton?
I feel like his last Premier League goal was for Southampton.
Yeah,
and I think that was. No, your face is telling me otherwise.
There's no face.
God, I don't know.
Trying to
what do you want? Do you want exact date?
Well, we could.
Month and year.
Month and year.
Yeah, go on, go month and year.
All right, so I reckon it's me first again because I'm 2-0 down. He was at Southampton 2 years ago, I think. I think 2 years ago. So I'm going to go March 23.
Okay.
I was going to go a
I'm probably
little.
miles off it.
I was going to go a little less because I feel it's so tough because I feel like he's had another Prem loan move after Southampton, but I don't know who. I'll go May 2022.
Oh, he's on the board. October 2023.
Get in. Get in.
2nd of October 2023. 2-0
I'm
for
some
Chelsea.
considerable months out, but I'll take the same year.
Was it for Southampton, Sterling?
No, for Chelsea, 2-0
It was
away at Fulham. Because I think he got
the derby
injured.
as well.
Yeah, I think he got injured when he was at Saints. So then he went back to Chelsea, recovered.
Okay.
And then I think they just put him back in the team for a bit, to be fair.
Yeah, because he's been on so many loan moves recently. It's the first time he's been back in the Prem. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, 2-1. Come on,
2-1. Here we go. Pressure's on, George. Pressure's on.
Penultimate. The 18-year-old son of which Man United legend made his debut on the weekend?
George, I hope you watch this game because I watched it, mate, and I know.
It's
you go first, mate.
You got George. Yeah, go on then. George's got to go first because Steph's got it.
I think
It's just the legend, the Man United legend.
I'm pretty sure. I think it was Darren Fletcher's son.
It was indeed, yeah. It was Fletcher's son.
It was. Yes. We'll give you both a point, but we can get a tiebreaker up if Steph gets this one. So it's all.
Fair.
Yeah,
it's all lying on you. It's all
make
it
interesting.
3-2. 3-2 it is. I need the equaliser.
3-2. Reece James and Anton Stach both scored directly from free kicks on the weekend, taking the total amount of free kick goals for this season to what number?
Oh my God. What a question.
That's a belter, that is, Steve.
Yeah.
That is a belter.
I know. Watching too much of The Chase, that's it.
I'm trying to relive all the free kicks in my head.
Yeah, literally.
I don't think I've seen that many. I'm going to say...
Yeah, you go. Yeah.
I'm going to say... over-under. I'm going to go respectable, below 10. I'm going to go 8.
I was going to go with 10, so I'm going to stick with 10.
Whoa. It's 9.
Oh!
I feel like it's a draw. And George takes the win.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that.
4-3. Well done, mate.
If you can shake hands with that, respectable one. Yeah, because it was a good game. Played in good spirits.
They were good, Stars. Well in, mate.
Well in.
Well,
I was under the cosh.
You were under the cosh, big time, mate. No, honestly, Steph, thank you, mate. I mean, it's been the most enjoyable one to film for myself, definitely. I'm sure George would have
for me. 100%, yeah.
Cheers, boys. Thanks for having me on. Really enjoyed it.
Thanks for coming on. And have a wonderful Christmas, mate.
Yes, you too, mate. Send my love to your family, boys, and everyone involved. Have a good Christmas. See you. Stars, you doing Gothia Cup camps?
I am. Not sure about camps. I'm not sure about camps.
Oh, mate, you need to get on the camps.
I need to. I'm definitely going to go back. So, what can I do? I'll speak to you off camera.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to do Sweden though. So
don't know.
We'll talk later. It's all rumours.
We'll talk later.
It's all rumours.
Yeah.
Right. See you later, boys. Thank
you very much.
Everyone, thanks for listening.
See you later.
Bye-bye.